In August 1983, a young woman named Louise Johnson walked out of her home in Atlanta, Georgia. She was 19 years old. She never came back. Her family searched. They called the police. They put up posters. They waited for answers. 3 months later, her body was found in an abandoned warehouse, strangled. The case went cold. It would stay cold for 32 years. Louise Johnson's case wasn't unique. It wasn't even unusual. She was poor. She was black. She was a sex worker. She had no connections, no media attention, no powerful family pushing police to investigate. So her case disappeared, like Louise herself had disappeared. And somewhere out there, walking free, was the man who killed her. A man who would keep killing, again and again, for decades, undetected. Here's a question. When a woman goes missing, how much does society care? The answer depends entirely on who she is. Imagine this scenario. A white, middle-class woman disappears from her suburb. Within 24 hours, the news covers it. Every station, every day, police mobilize, not just local cops, FBI, organized search teams, 500 officers if needed. The case becomes national. Missing person posters everywhere, Amber Alerts, constant media coverage. Within weeks, she's found. Justice happens quickly. But what if she's different? What if she's black? What if she's homeless? What if she's poor? What if she's a sex worker? Then something different happens, or rather, nothing happens.
There are tens of thousands of cases of missing people in the United States, but not all of them get the same amount of attention.
No coverage, no mobilization, no national attention, no urgency. Her case gets filed away, forgotten, cold. And that invisibility, that indifference, it would become a predator's greatest weapon. Samuel Little was born in Georgia in 1940. His childhood was violent, abandoned, poor. By his teens, he was already in trouble with police. By his 20s, he was a criminal, robbery, assault, sexual violence. He moved constantly, from Georgia to Texas, from Texas to California, from California to Florida, always one step ahead of local police, always in a new jurisdiction where no one connected the dots. And in 1970, something changed. He killed for the first time, then he killed again and again, for 35 years. Here's the problem that saved him. Police in Texas were investigating their murders separately. Police in California were investigating theirs separately. Police in Florida were investigating theirs separately. Each state had its own database, its own police department, its own jurisdiction. They couldn't talk to each other. Not really. Not effectively. Samuel Little understood this. He relied on this. Each time he moved to a new city, it was like starting over. A new police department, a new database, a new chance to remain invisible. And he was almost right. For 35 years, no one was counting. No one was connecting. No one realized that a single man moving state to state was building a killing spree unlike anything America had ever seen. Because the victims didn't matter enough to matter. Samuel Little didn't hunt randomly. He hunted deliberately. He understood which women would disappear quietly, which deaths would be overlooked, which families couldn't force a response. He targeted women already invisible to society. He hunted in shelters, on street corners, in abandoned buildings. Anywhere vulnerable women gathered, he offered them drugs, money, a place to sleep, safety, and then he brought them to isolated locations, and he strangled them with his bare hands. For 35 years, he moved across America, never staying long enough to establish a pattern, always chasing fresh hunting grounds. Georgia, Texas, California, Florida, New York, scattered murders in dozens of states. One man, one method, one predator, but a system designed to never see him coming because of where he hunted and who he hunted. 93 women total. And here's the horrifying pattern. Each category had something in common. They were women the system had already abandoned. Women living on streets nobody travels. Women using substances society had criminalized. Women doing survival sex work to eat. Women no one was counting, and Samuel Little counted on that. When these women died, their deaths weren't investigated as murders. They were listed as overdoses, accidents, undetermined causes. The murders were hidden, not because they were hidden well, but because no one was looking. Think about that. For 3.5 decades, Samuel Little murdered, on average, one woman every 4.5 months. Ted Bundy killed 30 people. Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17. John Wayne Gacy killed 33. Samuel Little killed 93. Yet most people have never heard of him because his victims didn't matter enough to remember. In 2005, Samuel Little was arrested. Drug possession, Kentucky, just another bust. No one realized who they had. He went to prison for drugs, not for any of the 93 murders no one knew about. For 7 years, he sat in prison, invisible, unknown. Then, in 2012, something happened that would finally break the silence.
The man the FBI now describes as the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history.
Little confessed to Texas Ranger James Holland that he killed many more.
What state did you kill in Los Angeles?
Los Angeles, approximately 20.
A Texas Ranger named James Holland was doing routine research on unsolved homicides. He noticed something unusual: multiple murders, all women, all strangled, all Texas, spanning decades but never connected. Holland had a theory: one killer, multiple jurisdictions. He requested to interview Samuel Little. When James Holland showed Samuel Little photos of victims, something unexpected happened. Little didn't deny. He didn't refuse. He started talking. "Yeah, I remember her. I killed her. I remember her face." For months, then years, Samuel Little confessed to murder after murder after murder. By 2020, the FBI had confirmed the unthinkable. Samuel Little was the most prolific serial killer in American history.
She was pretty, a light-skinned, brown, honey-colored skin. She was kind of thin, dark skin, about 40 years old. She was like blonde hair. Oh man, I loved her. I forget her name. Oh wait, I think it was Ruth. She's what you nowadays they call a transgender.
She's a
93 confessed murders, all from a man the system had rendered completely invisible for 35 years because he hunted invisible women in a system that was designed to miss him. When Samuel Little drew sketches of his victims from memory, something remarkable happened. For families who had searched for decades, answers finally came. A woman missing for 30 years, found. A body unknown for 40 years, identified. A case cold for 50 years, finally solved. The sketches he drew became proof. His own hand condemning him, his own memory, which had been his weapon, became evidence. And families finally got what they had been denied for decades: closure, answers, justice, though impossibly late. The question isn't how Samuel Little killed 93 people. The question is, why didn't anyone stop him? The answer reveals something terrifying about America's justice system. Samuel Little succeeded because of fragmented police databases. Police departments in different states couldn't communicate effectively. Prioritized victims. Missing black women and homeless women don't get the same resources as missing white women from suburbs. Misclassified deaths. Murders were called overdoses, accidents, undetermined causes. A criminal justice system designed for a different era, when killers didn't cross state lines, when police departments actually coordinated. But Samuel Little exploited every gap, every fragmented database, every deprioritized victim, every misclassified death. He understood the system better than the system understood itself. This wasn't just bad luck. This wasn't just a smart killer. This was a system failure, a massive, systemic, preventable failure, because America's justice system valued some lives more than others. And Samuel Little, in the most horrifying way possible, exposed that truth. With 93 victims. Since Samuel Little's confessions, law enforcement has been able to close 60-plus cold cases. Families who had waited 30, 40, 50 years finally know what happened to their daughters, finally got to bury them properly, finally got to grieve with truth instead of mystery. That's not closure. Closure isn't possible, but it's something. It's acknowledgement. It's justice, though impossibly delayed. And it's a reminder of all the families still waiting, still searching, still not getting answers. Because the system still hasn't truly changed. Since Samuel Little's case, there have been improvements. National DNA databases got better. Multi-state case coordination improved. Training on cross-jurisdictional patterns increased. But the fundamental problem remains. Certain victims still matter more than others. Certain cases still get prioritized over others. Certain deaths are still investigated less rigorously than others. Samuel Little is dead. He died in prison in 2020, serving 3 life sentences.
Well, the man authorities called the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history has died in a California prison.
If you don't know the names of Samuel Little's victims, that's the tragedy. They should be household names. They should be remembered as women with families, with dreams, with lives that mattered. But they were invisible. Society made them invisible. The police system made them invisible. And a predator used that invisibility as his hunting ground. Samuel Little is gone. That's justice of a sort. Late, incomplete, but justice nonetheless. Louise Johnson was 19 years old when Samuel Little killed her in 1983. Her case went cold for 32 years. She was one of 93. But she was also someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's friend. And she mattered, even if the system didn't think so. Thank you for bearing witness to these stories. If you know anything about the victims in this case, please come forward, and please remember their names. They deserve to be remembered.